Welcome back to Vintage Disney here on Brian's Things That Are Cool. In my Disney Channel Strikes Back episode, I mentioned a little show called So Weird. Now, after rewatching all of the episodes, I feel it needs to be looked at further. So Weird ran from January 18th, 1999 to September 28th, 2001, and starred Cara Delija as Fee, a teenage girl on tour with her rock star mother, played by Mackenzie Phillips. Town after town, Fee runs into the paranormal, much to her brother Jack's dismay. Along for the ride is the roadie Ned, his wife, and their two boys, Clue and Carrie. In the late 90s, the Disney Channel would relaunch from being a premium service to being part of the basic cable package, meaning the channel needed to grow its viewership. Their main focus seemed to be comedy, but there were a few dramas. Some even did well for Disney, but none tackled thematic drama quite like So Weird. Was it the heavy themes, the scary images? For whatever reason, it's a show very far removed from what the network ended up branding itself as. For that reason, So Weird was a risk. As the founder of Sun Records, Sam Phillips, once said, "If you're not doing something different, you're not doing anything." So pull up a chair, log into Fee's So Weird webpage. Let's count down my top 10 favorite episodes. Number 10, Exit 13 from Season 3. The gang pulls into a rest stop where Annie meets a man trapped there, unable to leave. He gives her a stone saying it will bring her luck, but he doesn't say what kind of luck, and Annie finds herself in a Groundhog Day situation until she can find out more about this mysterious stone. Due to the original star Cara Delija leaving, Season 3 was a tonal shift for the show, dropping the darker elements of Season 1 and 2 for a lighter, more colorful style, and a new character, Annie, the daughter of Molly's friend who takes over for Fee. Season 3 isn't my favorite, but it does have a few good episodes, including this one. I like the idea of the cursed stone, which is based on a myth from the Iroquois tribe, the Twin Gods, who were credited with the creation of humans. The right-handed god created everything that benefited humans, while the left-handed god created all of our obstacles. This is why the stone Annie receives features the left-handed twin. It's clear that throughout the series, the creators did their research. Despite the much lighter tone of Season 3, the plot in this episode feels much like a Twilight Zone episode. And any Season 3 episode that features Fee, even if it's only through Annie's computer, is one to enjoy. No offense to Annie. Number 9. Dead Ringer from Season 3. In this Jack-centric episode, loosely based on Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart, Jack gets a call from an old neighbor who died years ago. Dead Ringer is one of the few episodes that focuses on a single character, and Patrick Levis totally sells it. He's able to stay immersed in the character while also invoking all the right emotions for the audience. Most of the story, centered around the guilt Jack has for knocking a golf ball through his neighbor's window and never saying anything about it, is basically Jack talking to himself as he's tormented by a ghost from his past. And while we've never seen Jack act this way, it still feels completely natural for Jack to freak out and talk to himself. While it may not be as creepy as other episodes, it does immerse the viewer in an atmosphere of dread, as we are left wondering if the haunting actually happened. My only gripe with this episode is that the previous episodes state that Molly and the kids lived elsewhere, but for the sake of this episode, it works. Number 8. Shelter from Season 2. When Fee brings her cat in to be treated for fleas, she's turned into a dog by the dog-loving vet. This is one of the few lighter episodes for Fee's run on the series, but the humor really works and makes for an enjoyable watch. The episode balances its plot between humorous and tragic well, playing up the idea of losing everything that is human to showing that despite having higher functioning minds, humans and dogs still have many of the same instincts. The episode itself is a comedic pause in a series that was getting very dramatic up to this point, and it's welcome and one of the best standalone episodes of the series. Ellie Harvey, who had previously played Morticia in the 1998 TV reboot of The Addams Family, adds to the humor of the episode as the crazy vet/mad scientist, like the type Fee talks about in the episode's opening. In all, a comedic episode that proves that it's okay to get a little goofy sometimes. Number 7. Nightmare from Season 2. Jack, Clu, and Fee find themselves literally living in a nightmare coming from the mind of Clu's cousin. There are generally two types of horror. Physical horror, like your slasher movies or torture porn, and psychological horror. Why are we afraid? The stuff that truly messes with your mind. The monster is fear itself, and as Clu's cousin Danny must confront his constantly fighting parents, so must Jack and Fee confront the fear of loss they feel for their father. It's one of the more heady episodes, and really shows how different it was from what Disney was putting out at the time. Perhaps it was too much, thus the tone of Season 3. One of the main problems with playing it too safe is that you miss out on great episodes like this, so embrace it, Disney. Number 6. Werewolf from Season 2. When the gang comes to a rural town currently dealing with attacks on their animals, Fee suspects it's the work of a werewolf. Werewolf, like Nightmare, is one of the scariest episodes of So Weird, and no doubt was on Disney's shortlist of why we want a lighter Season 3. But hey, being scared is good for kids. Speaking of kids, it's interesting to see this episode tackle the idea of a child becoming a werewolf, something you don't normally see. The gang is staying at a bed and breakfast where Fee bonds with the owner's young daughter, and it's Fee that must decide how to tell the girl's parents. The episode features a thrilling climax in which Fee, Carrie, and Jack are chased by the wolf. Between this and the episode's focus on family, it handles both drama and suspense very well. I like that the episode opts for a less is more style by taking up a wolf point of view shot over showing the creature in full. It certainly heightens the tension. It's also nice to see a werewolf story wrap up with a happy ending for the poor person afflicted with the curse. In this case, a scared little girl. Number 5. Strangeling from Season 1. The gang takes in a dress rehearsal performance of Macbeth, where Fee discovers that the prop spell book used by the witches belonged to her father, and is a very real spell book. Strangeling, I feel, is one of the most important episodes of the series because it furthers the show's world building, while also developing the mythology with Fee's family history being addressed for the first time, and her father's interest in the paranormal. With this connection, we finally see Fee not just as a girl hoping to connect with her father, but that she's also on a journey to discover truths that others wish would remain hidden. The stage setting offers a creepy atmosphere, and the parallels of the witches in Macbeth and Fee's own witch blood create a standout story about dragons, knights, and magic spells. Jack and Clu at one point dress as knights, and it's in this form Jack unknowingly defeats the dragon. This would be the first reference to Jack being the reincarnation of a knight in this series, a storyline that was sadly dropped when Season 3 took a lighter tone. I swear, the whole episode won't just be me talking about the tonal shift of Season 3. Number 4. Rebecca from Season 1. A girl introduces herself to Fee, who looks suspiciously like a friend Molly had as a child. Despite being the driving force of the show's plot, a rock star mom on tour with her kids, it's not until Rebecca that we start to learn about Molly. Whereas before she's mostly been on the sidelines, here Molly is center stage in this episode with themes of loss and passage of time. The episode shows the strengths of So Weird as a series by leaving behind the fluff littering much of the Disney Channel recently, and simply having dramatic moments and great storytelling. Molly sings her song Rebecca with no distractions, simply a woman who has lost too many people in her life. Many of the show's musical moments are like this, with many of the song lyrics detailing important plot points and almost acting as the character's premonitions. Other than the idea of immortals, I like the idea that Rebecca's family maintains their lifestyle by selling priceless ancient artifacts that they bought new. Little aspects like that you never really think about. With a great narrative featuring heavy themes, Rebecca is one of the most relatable episodes. Number 3. Boo from Season 2. A Halloween episode. In town for a Halloween gig, Fee discovers that the people there don't celebrate Halloween, but Samhain, an ancient Celtic holiday where for one night the dead can be amongst the living. There are generally 2 ways to go about a Halloween episode. Make the episode a suspense-filled horror episode, or just put all of your characters in a costume and have them trick-or-treat. Very few, if any, explore the origins of the holiday, making So Weird's Halloween episode a standout. It digs into the traditions of Samhain in a lighthearted way, with a comedic turn by executive producer and the Fonz himself, Henry Winkler, as a man sick of being in the underworld, so he aims to trap Fee and the gang there. It's a bizarre episode, but one that takes advantage of the holiday and all its spooky trappings. The idea of the dead's desire to return to the living could have set up a more serious tone with scenes involving Fee's father, but I'm happy they kept it light. It makes Boo a great standalone episode, and one that I'll be adding to my watch list next month. Number 2. Blues from Season 2. As the gang rolls into Mississippi, they all find themselves channeling the same old Delta blues song. Blues was the very first episode I ever saw, so I have to credit it for introducing me to a great show. What makes this episode work for me is its love for all things blues. From the song the gang channels, to the fact that it's set in Clarksdale, Mississippi, home of the infamous Crossroads. Though unfortunately there's no mention of a Faustian bargain here, simply a murder mystery. As I mentioned in my Disney Channel Strikes Back episode, Bo Diddley makes a cameo appearance as the owner of a record shop. Bo will live on in music history as the originator, and despite a small amount of screen time, his presence is felt throughout this episode. While I would have loved to see them include the Crossroads like that great episode of Supernatural, this is still a good one that pays tribute to the blues. And my number 1 favorite episode of So Weird is Family Reunion from Season 1. In the pilot episode, the gang rolls into Chicago, where Fee is contacted by the ghost of a boy who died in the Eastland disaster in 1915. Family Reunion is the perfect pilot episode. It successfully sets up the mythos of the show without feeling forced or heavy-handed. The Mulder-Scully relationship between the siblings is established quickly, with Fee being the believer and Jack obviously still hurting after his father's death, being the skeptic. Fee continues to push, and in the climax, the characters are confronted with the ghost of a small boy who simply wants to be reunited with his parents, much like Jack and Fee and their struggles without their father. An interesting aspect of this episode and series as a whole is they always find a way to shield Jack from the paranormal, so he stays the skeptic, a dynamic that creates a rift between the two, but still allows Jack to be seen as the protective older brother. With a spooky atmosphere and a deep storyline, this episode perfectly sets up the perimeters for a daring and wildly imaginative show. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my top 10 favorite So Weird episodes. If you have a few of your own, leave them in the comments section. If you want to be kept up to date as to when I release a new video, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. And if you really want to be notified, hit that bell as well. I'm Brian, and I'll see you next time.